Okay, so we have a fake agenda here. Actually, some of these are real items. But what we do, we also have roles for each person to play. I'm going to pretend I'm going to do the agenda, but that rotates for everybody. It rotates through 30 people. And usually we have 30 people at a staff meeting, so this is just a few of us. So I'm going to be the agenda, and then Nora is the note taker. So she has the fake computer over there. And then timekeeper is Tim. And then what we do, and we have yard guards, so that means you have to go supervise the students and step out. We need 2 of those people, and so then we always are rotating these positions. So that's one thing to be clear about. We found that if we do not start the staff meeting with a check-in, it doesn't go very well. So we need something silly, something positive, something lighthearted, sometimes serious, but we really need just an abstract check-in to kind of get comfortable, and it sets a better tone for the meeting. So today's check-in question is, what is something you saw someone else do last week? Something awesome you saw someone do last week. So Vanessa's going to start. Say your name.
Thank you. My name's Monessa. I have a student who is petrified of presenting, and am I talking to?
You talked to me.
Sorry. So I have a student on my advisory who's scared to present, and she's petrified every block, and was signed up to present last Friday. And she just, as she got up there, and she just panicked and had to leave the room and was crying. I was really upset. But then on Monday, of her own free will, she just decided to get up and present all on her own without any prompting. So it was really special. So I was really proud of her.
Well, I don't know if you guys have seen, I've got a leopard gecko in my room, and I got it as a pet for Emmett because Emmett's never had a pet. And I just thought, first he wasn't really interested in it, and then I looked over the other day and he had it out. He said, "Can I hold it?" And he was sitting there just with a big smile on his face, holding the leopard gecko and kind of stroking it. It was pretty cute.
I'm Anna. We just finished with the middle schoolers' first rounds of presentations, and I had about 10 first-time presenters, and the support that they got from the whole rest of my advisory just about made me cry. It was really, really cute. It was really cute.
I'm Nora, and yesterday we had to get tables set up and clean up the building, and at 2 o'clock, kind of freaked out a little bit, and I walked into the advisory and I said, "Okay, if you're not doing anything, come with me." And I just had these eager beavers, and like, the 9th grade boy knows how to move tables and clean up. So if you have one of those, use them.
I'm Joe. This week we had Josh's IEP meeting and senior meeting, and one of the things we talked about was self-advocacy. And that very day, he asked for math help, for more math help, something he hadn't seen before. And then to follow up to the meeting, he sent an email to me with a question about his standards, advocating for something. So he kind of got the message there, and it's just really cool. 2 firsts for him. So those are great.
Hello, I'm Tim. Last week I had a student that was quite upset with something that was going on at the school, and I watched Nora sit down with the student and change that anger into some sort of advocacy, and then that student went and tried to solve the problem on their own, which was really incredible. Nice work.
I'm Kevin. It was very cool. Yesterday I had a student who finalized a project, and his case manager came and saw me. Andrea came and saw me and said, "Okay, Kevin, this is what you're going to say. And here's what you're not going to say. And if you do these things, it's going to be great." And so the student comes in with another staff member who had been working really closely with him on physical science. And we went through it, and he did his presentation and answered the questions, and it was fantastic. And he took so much pride in his work, and I knew that by having all these people working together, it really helped him. So I was really excited for him, even though it was physical science.
I'm Gretchen. I had a student propose a senior project, and he was so nervous and anxious about that he came in and he did it. And what was awesome was his expert, Tom Marble, And Tom is, I can tell already, is just gonna push this kid. He brought in like 3 books for him to get started on, and he has so many resources lined up, and they hit it off, and it's gonna be a great partnership.
Yesterday we had a 9th grader finish a project that I honestly didn't know if she was going to finish. And then I was worried about because I hadn't seen a lot of it. But she pulled it together and it was about images in the media and Photoshop and how they do that. But then she also did a lot of makeup and she didn't do it at school, so that was really cool. But she taught Gretchen and I a lot about makeup, which we didn't know anything about how expensive it is and how many products are used to get just like a simple look.
We were the good audience.
So, are there any student issues?
No.
I got nothing.
Nothing we're gonna talk about.
So, weekly announcements. Is there a play happening?
Yes. Tonight, here at 7 o'clock will be Titus Andronicus, and there are about 15 students in it, so tickets are $5. If you have students that want to come but don't have the money, just have them let me know, because I, of course, will let them in. And then also it's tomorrow night, too, at 7.
Just a little reminder that Gretchen and I are going to take the juniors to the library on Monday, leaving at 10:05.
Lauren, do they need to have the permission slip signed Monday morning to go?
You know, we'll take them without that, but I think they should at least get it signed by you, okay?
Phone call to the parents is gonna happen, right?
Yeah, right.
And Kevin, Tim, David, and I are taking students on Thursday the Magic Flute, and they should get the permission slip signed
Yes.
beforehand.
Yes.
And it's $10.
Is there a deliverable of the week?
I think Cole and Patrick could show off their go-kart they built. So they built a go-kart, maybe they could zoom it around the cafe on Monday.
Okay, there's just the decisions from last week. Nora, you're gonna head up the door buzzer conversation?
Okay, so just to give some background, because not everyone's on the same page, I don't think today we're going to make a decision on this, although we could. No, we don't work by quorum, people. We work by consensus. So to give a little background, if you were a visitor walking in the school, right, you walk in the front door, and the door is open from 7:45 when we open the building to students to 4:30 when we close the building to students. And so the challenge right now is that we're asking visitors to walk from the front door all the way into the office to sign in. So we don't always know when there's a visitor in the building, including parents or angry parents or angry visitors. And so I think it's helpful to remember that we're not having this conversation about creating a security system in the front because of an incident that happened. We're trying to be proactive about this. I think this, if I came up because one of the challenges in practicing lockdowns is that the person who is doing the practice lockdown has to go outside and lock the doors. And so just that feeling of like, oh, this is a practice, but in real life, if there was an incident outside that would call for a lockdown, someone physically would have to go and close the doors instead of a buzzer situation. So I think we're trying to explore what are our different options. It went to, the question went to committee. So I have two, and I sent out over email, I'm sorry, I don't have them in front of me right now, but I sent out 2 quotes right now from different security companies. One would be that the door would be locked all the time and a student would buzz in and they would, on the intercom, say who they are, and then a person in the office could visually see who that is and then buzz in, or that it's a video camera. And I'm wondering if people have thoughts or ideas or what they're thinking about the challenges right now of moving from an open door policy quite literally, to a buzzer. You know, folks like this.
I know, I mean, we don't always have somebody in the office, and so then a concern would be how does somebody get in if there's nobody in the office? And then I'm also wondering how many times a day that would buzz, and if somebody would want to not work here anymore because of the number of times that that would buzz at them, or if there's a way that we can share buzzer duty, if that's the case.
I guess I'm also confused about, so somebody comes to the front door, what do? You don't have any idea who they are, so what would you expect Blanca to do? You know, I might know that a person's coming and maybe I've sent an email, but she might not have seen it. So if we're just getting in the habit of buzz, buzz, buzz in, like, I think that kind of defeats the purpose of what we're doing.
I think as someone that works in the office often, I would be, you know, I think Anna's point makes a lot of sense, and that, you know, I'm trying to get some stuff done, and it's a constant get out of the desk and go buzz somebody in. So I guess that would be my biggest concern.
I'm kind of leaning towards no buzzer, just because of the inconvenience thing. It's so inconvenient, I really agree with that.
I just worry a little bit too that it might create a false sense of security, you know, because again, like Kevin said, if somebody's buzzing it, Blanca might not know who that is, or Holly, or whoever is going to be buzzing people in. So I don't know. Yeah, I just feel kind of weird about it. I don't really know where I sit on it yet, but I just feel like it would be a false sense of security.
I'm having some thoughts about other things. And I appreciate the committee's work already, and I wish I would have thought of this earlier. But I didn't. But what about, so I know like at my kids' preschool, you have a code. So the whole entire community that we know is part of Avalon has the code, then they can get themselves in, and then if it's somebody unknown to the building, then they can buzz in. That's one idea. And then I also wonder, like, is there some sort of like app situation that, so we could share camera or buzzer duty or whatever at the door? And I know, I appreciate the work the committee's already done and don't want to give you extra work, but I just right now have these thoughts.
Anna, I really like your thoughts. And I think a voice that hasn't been around the table right now at this point is the fact that I am the closest person to the door. My advisor is there. And I have to tell you, there has been times when weird people have walked into the building and I have had to deal with them. And so I know it's an inconvenience, but maybe we have to change kind of how we do things here, because I'm tired of weird people walking in.
It's not personal.
So right now we have a quote for the non-buzzer, but you know, the committee was made up of people who feel very strongly about having something. Me being maybe one of them, or not. So I think we have to bring it back to committee and get another quote. Is that okay with folks?
Sounds good.
Okay. So actually, can we decide on that? So the decision is that it will go back to committee to get a further quotes on possible apps as well as a key code? Okay. Can I see a vote? Okay. Do you want to explain?
So when we make a decision, we use a fist to 5 method. So 5 is you're like, great, let's do it. 4 is just fine. 3 maybe that you do not have a strong preference for one way or the other, but you're not going to block it. But as soon as it goes to a 2, well, maybe we'll practice that with a different agenda item, but then that person is responsible for kind of thinking about it. Maybe they don't have a solution, but they just say, I can't vote for this right now. We need to push it on to next week. We need to talk about it later. Otherwise, I'm putting up a 2 because have we thought about this? I'm ready to go forward if we can answer my question about this. So 2, 1, and fist. And honestly, I can't ever think of a time we've seen a fist. But we might drop the question before the fist comes up, I don't know. So those are how we do it, and that's how we quickly can get to consensus. Sometimes we really love a decision so much we keep talking about it when we don't need to. And so finally somebody is like, can we just vote? And then we can move on. So that's why it makes it more efficient. Okay, the next one is cafe close. So this is my agenda item. I sit on like a student congress, and you guys will learn more about Congress.
How much percent in your consensus? 80%, 90%?
100%. Yeah, yep. So Congress has proposed to the staff that they would like to close the cafe because they've noticed that students are violating the person to a table. They are not being quiet, and they've noticed that when some students are asked to return to their advisory by a staff member, they've seen some disrespect. So Congress decided that they've given enough warnings, they've announced at all school meeting, and they would like to close the cafe for the last 2 weeks of the quarter.
No, because I think we might learn that then they just move into the hallways. So I'm wondering if we could clarify or have them be clear on where then they can be. Because are we gonna make them stay in their advisories?
No. It doesn't happen. I have 45 minutes in the morning when I can do what I need to do, and I literally spend 35 of them clearing the hallways and asking kids to get passes and waiting for kids to get passes and hearing all their excuses about what you've told them that you haven't actually told them.
I'm sorry.
So would you like me to take this back to Congress to talk about the hallways?
Yeah.
Because they can come up with a solution for that as well.
That would be good.
All right.
That'd be great.
Tim, did you want to add anything? Are you ready to vote?
I was going to do the timekeeper on this, but you closed it quickly. So.
All right. So back to Congress.
Yes.
Back Congress.
Yes,
Back to Congress.
All right, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super fast. Okay, the shortest version of Congress is we function like the United States government, but we are probably more productive. Just kidding. So what happens is the students are the legislative branch. So any student, you don't have to be voted in, you don't have to raise campaign dollars, and you don't have to solicit campaign funds. So you just get to go to Congress and be a part of Student Congress. If you have an issue, you can come with a solution. It can be written up as a bill, and that bill can go to the staff. Now, the staff is the executive branch, so we get to approve or deny their bills as long as we send them back with a reason and possible revisions and explain why we don't like that bill. But they cannot override our veto, so that's helpful when running the school. And finally, our judicial branch is our peer mediation program. So often Congress will make these laws, they meet twice a week, and sometimes they don't have a lot to propose, sometimes they plan events and other things. But you can also learn more from our Student Congress tomorrow, because they'll be presenting about how that works.
All right, next agenda item. So we just finished the quarter, and I have some conferences coming up, so I was wondering if we could look at a schedule for the end of the block. If we could figure out when the grade sheets would be due. I have projected a timeline so we can see if it makes sense, but by next Wednesday, do we think we can have grades done and I can print the transcripts for conferences? Anybody have objections to Wednesday for grades? Perfect. Oh, Lauren.
I think we just have to decide if it's in the morning or the afternoon. Wednesday would be fine.
Wednesday would be fine. By the end of the school day on Wednesday.
Grades and project conference, right?
And then grade.
Grades and project conference.
Yes. So your classes are closed on Wednesday, and then any written feedback by Friday, so I could get the packet together for conferences next week. Fantastic. Should we vote on that timeline that's projected on the board? Wonderful. Rolling. Good. All right. Thanks.
All right. Let's see. I've got a field trip coming up in to, I think, the beginning of March, but I have to get it together because it's for the Schools on Stage program. And the Guthrie wants to make sure that I can take 15 students. So I really wanted to open it up to the middle school, but the Guthrie won't let me. So if you can, high school advisors, see if there are students that you know would maybe like to do this. Not the same ones who sign up for everything. Keep trying. You know, if you've seen an interesting journal, or you've seen them do some things that they might be willing to do some writing and a little bit of performing, that could work. And it would be nice if we could just have a smaller group, not a huge group. So if you've got somebody you're excited about, send me an email first, and we can talk about the best way to get them ready for the sessions. The sessions will happen in January and February, and then the play will be in March. I just have to get the Guthrie the names of the students by the end of this month. Joe?
What about students who are just interested in writing and have no interest in performing?
I'll check with the Guthrie. I think that can work. They usually get pulled in to do a little bit of stuff by the end, but it has worked in the past.
I think it would be important too, to, as advisors, really find out true student interest, because sometimes we have students sign up for things they don't follow through, and then it looks really bad for, it looks really bad for us, but then also it's hard for them. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, that's my feedback.
Oh. Anything else? So is that okay? We don't have to make a decision.
We don't have to make a decision. Just talk with the students in your advisory, or if you're noticing anybody, just give me an email.
For the next agenda item, Claire, you don't know this, but I'm going to grab you. Here. I was just going to put this on the agenda item, but it is the green team, and I was going to talk about it, Lauren, but since you are here, why don't you bring up the greenhouse for a
So I've been working on my junior project, which is a longer project that juniors take on. It's 150 hours. And I'm working on environmental justice and doing projects around the school to improve our carbon footprint, basically. So we're working in the garden, and we want to get a greenhouse, and we're looking for money for that to be approved. We found one that's on sale for $300, and it's a structured house. It's actually like a greenhouse, and we want to build it in the spring, but we're hoping to buy it now so that we can just put it up in March and start planting right away. So it'll extend the growing season. We won't have it up throughout the whole winter, but it'll extend the growing season. Yeah.
Once you have it up in the spring, will it withstand snow loads? Do you know? Have you researched it?
So what we found is that it will withstand more wind and snow if it has a base in it. So we're talking to Randall, who's our sort of handyman around the school, as well as much more, to build a foundation with some 2x4s and metal posts that will keep it more on the ground. I'm not sure about the upper panels. We might need to go out and brush snow off in March if we do get a blizzard, but it looks like it's pretty durable.
So I think there's two places we could get funding for this. Is one through the APA, and then one out of just project curriculum money. So does anybody have a thought?
I think it would be a good place to start with the APA, because they've been asking us for Avalon Parent Association. Yep, so I think it would be really great to start there and see if they can do some fundraising for that project.
Are we willing to guarantee it if they can't raise the $400 or $300?
Yeah, that's just what I was going to ask, was just to make sure that you felt like you could move ahead.
So we're ready to vote on that?
Yeah. What do we vote on? So we're going to purchase it with APA or our money if APA doesn't make their app.
Right.
Thanks, Claire.
Thanks, Claire.
Carrie, you skipped my agenda item.
I did.
And I know that was to provide some theater. So I have an item on here, and I sent it out to y'all last week about our opportunity to partner with the library again. this year with another Read Brave books. I sent you out information about the book. It looks like it's a little more appropriate for 9-12 instead of 6-8, so if it's all right, I was thinking this would be a 9-12 all school, high school book club for this year. Are we on board?
I have a question.
No.
My question would be, if there are some middle schoolers, maybe upper middle school, who we feel like are more mature, if their parents are on board, if they could join a book club, that would be a possibility.
I don't mind doing a lunchtime book club with those kids. I could do that. And make sure I talk to their parents and everything. Yeah, I could do that.
Is this the book that's like the movie Kids?
Well, no, that's a good point though. No.
I think more people need to read it.
Yeah.
I mean, more staff need to read it, and then we can make a better decision together. I've read it. I'm just saying this.
Yeah.
So I just think more people need to read it, and then because we all have to make Read Brave work. All of us have to feel comfortable talking about it. Well, do you want to clarify, Joe?
No. It's a joke. There was a joke.
Oh, I don't want to touch that joke. I'm not touching that.
So, you got something, Tim?
I was going to ask if you have read it, or if you're willing to, and then come back to the staff with your recommendation, because I have not read it. I've read some reviews of it, but.
You know, I have read it, and I think it's okay, but I think I would like more voices.
More people.
So if we can have, like,
I'll read it.
Janice gonna read it,
Can you,
anyone else?
I've
do you have
read
any copies? Can you give us
Yep,
some
I
copies
do.
to read?
Nora wants something.
So Read Brave is in conjunction with the St. Paul Public Library, and they pick a book that they want different high schools to read. So I'm a little stuck on Read Brave because I think the 2 years that we had books for everyone, or we had more books, that we could then make sure that we had more time to read it. I was really frustrated last year with the speed at which I had to go through it with my students, and I don't think we did that book justice because of the time that we didn't have for it. So, okay, I'm a little bit cranky with the St. Paul Public Library because they pick really expensive books, right? New releases. So, are we willing to spend some money so we have enough sets so that we can have a meaningful experience for everybody?
Ooh, that sounds like APA, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, we could pass that APA and get more books.
And then we can also put it on Forgive to the Max. Do that.
So, it sounds like we need more time before we vote on this one. So I'll get the copies to you guys. We'll vote, how about 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to mention one thing before we wrap up, that if you notice our agenda, and sometimes it's tricky actually to put an agenda item under our mission, so sometimes it's kind of a funny game, but community building, hope for the future, lifelong learning, engaged citizenship, those are always important pieces of our mission that we always want to keep front and center. That's why they're on there. So.
I have a parking lot.
Oh, come in.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to do, yeah,
Supposed
right?
to
I mean,
publicly share.
no, I have this really important decision. I didn't tell anybody about it. I didn't send anybody, but we need to make a decision today. No?
We don't have to,
Oh.
I have a suggestion.
What do you have to say?
Why don't you send an email out to the staff as quick as possible?
Yes.
Because we have to start our day, so we have to actually go, we don't have time.
Okay.
So can you send an email as soon as possible?
No, I'm
Will-
totally sorry. I yes.
Okay, that'd be great, because we have to get to class. Thanks.
Thank you.